you know, iPhones and smartphones and fast cars and airplanes, and you know, we're just going. The internet never stops. Cities never sleep. Bills don't pay themselves. I know, wouldn't that be cool? Go pay yourself, all right? Get out of here. But I think that, yeah, right? I think that there are, you know, the old adage of there are two certain things in life: death and taxes. So, my suggestion is, and the way I try to live my life is, if that's the two things I know are going to be constants, then I damn well want to fill the rest of that time with really awesome stuff, even if it's tiring. You know what I mean? So, I think that's the best I can do. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, girl. You know what I mean?
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question for you.
I hope so.
What made you decide to become an actor?
Ooh. I started acting when I was about 7. And my brother, who's not in here, he wasn't here, he could tell you that even from a really young age, 5, I used to act out really weird, off-the-wall skits in our kitchen at dinner and stuff. And, oh, there goes Ian again. And so I wanted to do it from very, very early. And I started doing it I think at about 7. And my mom would take me around and do local theater and auditions and, you know, theater in my school. And it was always very dramatic little sucker. So I never did know. I was too young to know why. I know why now. Just because it's inspiring. It allows you to express a lot, even if you don't want to be a professional actor. If you ever want insight to an interesting process, which makes you kind of forces, let me rephrase that. It allows you to be very present wherever you are, and it also allows you to listen. Because most of acting is listening. And it's, you know, I think it was Lawrence Levy that was saying, it's not acting, it's reacting. Life, when you walk into a room with someone, you're having a conversation, you don't know how that conversation is going to transpire. You don't know what's going to happen. That's life. And acting, you know the script, you know where it's going to go, but you have to somehow, single-handedly or collectively with your other actors, make it new every single time. That's a challenge. But if you ever really want to have any insight to that, go enroll in an acting class. I'm telling you, it's a very interesting process. You've got to come way out of your comfort zone and do some really silly stuff. But I think it's good. I think it's good for people, whether you're an actor or not. If you're in management, if you're in a restaurant, if you're in university or education, I think it's a really interesting. I recommend it to everyone. And a lot of the best directors and producers and writers in the business all went to acting classes because they wanted to see on the other side of the spectrum what it looks like. So check it out. I mean, I don't care if you're a banker. Go jump into an acting class and you'll quickly see how cool it is and how scary it can be. But fun.
Hi, Ian.
What? Hi.
Thank you for encouraging us and
To take acting classes?
for encouraging us to go out there and help the animals. We have talked a few times.
Yes, we have.
What I did in Arizona. So my question to you, I understand you got a new cat.
What's that?
You got a new cat?
Well, I tried to steal a cat, and it didn't work. I tried to steal Grumpy Cat, but I couldn't get her. You know, it's really crazy. The co-secretary of ISF, who's sitting in this room, Jessica Ramsey and I went to South by Southwest Interactive last weekend, and it was the most phenomenal meeting of minds I've ever seen. It was like TED conference, but in Austin, Texas, with bourbon. I mean, it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. and I'm Montgomery cat. And I looked at the analytics of how social media has allowed us to communicate. This kitty had 52 million mentions in one 24-hour period. 52 million. That's insane. And so, what are you doing, woman? And I said, that is totally crazy. Oh, I don't want that. You know that today it's, yes, this would be better. Thank you. Here, let me take this one more. I don't even want to be seen on stage with that. Thanks, Devin. Thanks for putting me in that spot, Devin. Today is global, I'd rather just...
Tomorrow.
Or tomorrow it is, yeah, sorry. No bottle day. And... The idea is that we do not want to be using plastic bottles. We don't need to be using plastic bottles. We need to be using reusable bottles. Because this stuff, whether you like it or not, ends up in our landfills and it ends up in our oceans. And because of saltwater degradation and solar degradation, it's getting into the DNA of plankton. Guys, that is not acceptable. And I think one really cool thing that we can all do is inspire each other to not use plastic bottles and drink water. I think it's the craziest thing that there was this amazing picture. I'm going to try and find it. Kim, the executive director of ISF, sent me this picture. And it's this little guy, and he's in Africa. And he's looking at this woman who's working with some nonprofit. And you see the look on this little kid's face, like, what? And the caption is, you have free-flowing sources of water in 5 different parts of your house. You know, talking about the US. We have water coming out everywhere. I mean, everything runs, it's water, it's clean for the most part. You know, we always need filters on the water, that's fine. And the caption is, so you have water coming out of every faucet in your every room in your house, and yet you still drive to the grocery store to buy it in bottles. It's the craziest thing. You know the water bottle industry skyrocketed, don't quote me on it, in one decade, I want to say 1990 to 2000, was the only business in the world that skyrocketed something like 20,000%. It's crazy. So now we have floating islands of plastic, and you guys, especially youngsters, that's your ocean. And the best thing that you can do is to teach yourself, you know what, get the stainless steel ones, get this bobble thing, they work. And you don't ever have to feel bad that you're contributing to this really gnarly thing that we're all, you know, being fed, which is buy bottled water, buy bottled water. You know what I mean? At home, get some filters for your faucets, man. And if the water in your community is not clean enough, then demand that it is. You know what I mean? Go to your city council, start researching and say, hey man, why is this water, you know, we need this water, but why is it full of this chemical and that chemical? Let's fix that. So this is your time to shine and make serious change. We have this Green Your Thirst campaign. No need to pollute. We all need a lot of water, but just be conscious of that if you can. And let's make a pinky swear. No more plastic bottles. Please. It helps us all out. And I love you guys for that. I'm not BSing you. I think this is like one of the worst things that we've done to ourselves. So we're going to figure out how to remove this island of plastic in the Pacific, and we're going to start some programs that are going to dismantle it and use it. And I'm going to be talking to David DeRothschild next week to figure out how to, you know, really on a large scale. So when we start coming up with products and stuff that we'll be able to recycle all this stuff with, hopefully we can all, you know, buy pieces of it because we're going to need to do something with it.
Hey, Ian.
Hey.